My wife said I should manage my time better while I hadn't had a day off in months, so I stopped doing anything that benefited her. She called it a tantrum, then begged for normalcy. I worked a double shift at the construction site before coming home to fix the leaking shower she'd been complaining about for weeks. I'd already replaced the brake pads on her car that afternoon and meal prepped her lunches for the week. She spent the entire time on the couch, watching reality TV, only getting up to ask when I'd finish because the noise was annoying her. When I finally sat down at 9 p.m., she glanced up from her phone and said the bathroom grout looked uneven, then started her nightly monologue about how I never fold her laundry right and how her father's house always had fresh flowers. Maybe if you managed your time better instead of wasting it on overtime, she said while scrolling through Instagram. I stood there exhausted, realizing I'd worked 14 hours that day while she'd been home unemployed for 6 months. You know what you should do? Said my buddy Marcus the next morning. Stop being her personal assistant and see how long reality takes to hit. I stared at him, surprised by how simple he made it sound. He laughed and clapped my shoulder. That's her problem, man. You're her husband, not her employee, and nothing you do is good enough anyway. That evening, I moved my things into the spare room. She was at a friend's house, probably complaining about how I'd forgotten to pick up her dry cleaning. Except I hadn't forgotten. I'd just stopped. I looked around our bedroom one last time at her makeup scattered everywhere despite the vanity I'd built her, at the designer purse I'd worked overtime to buy that she'd never thanked me for. None of this was my responsibility anymore. When she came home, she found me eating a perfect ribeye with a cold beer and the game on. I'd made exactly one steak. She stood frozen in the doorway. "Where's my dinner?" she asked, genuinely confused. "I only cooked for myself tonight," I said. "There's food in the fridge if you're hungry." Her face went through shock, confusion, then outrage. "Are you seriously being petty about yesterday? I was trying to help you be more efficient. You're acting like a child." I turned up the TV volume and kept eating. "You said I waste time, so now I only spend time on myself." She laughed like I was joking, went to the kitchen, stood there for 15 minutes before ordering delivery, then lectured me about wasting our money with my tantrum. By day 3, the kitchen was buried under her takeout containers. She'd run out of clean workout clothes and started re-wearing leggings inside out. The bathroom mirror had makeup smears because she'd never once cleaned it. By week's end, she'd attempted laundry and turned my work shirts pink with her red dress. The smell from her car was getting bad because she'd spilled coffee and never cleaned it. She'd been living entirely on DoorDash, and I overheard her crying to her mother about how expensive everything was. Her mother must have suggested she cook because I heard her yell that wasn't what she married me for. On day 10, she came to my door with wine. "I'm sorry I was critical," she said, though her eyes were more annoyed than apologetic. "Can we go back to normal? My friends are noticing things." I took the wine and closed the door. Through it, I heard her sharp breath. By week 3, her mother showed up and spent hours teaching her to use the washing machine. That night, she knocked softly and finally spoke the truth. "I didn't understand everything you did until you stopped. I can't keep up. You're supposed to handle these things." I opened the door and looked at her standing there, exhausted and surrounded by the chaos she'd created. "I was drowning for months while you told me I was wasting time." I showed her the apartment listings on my phone. Her face went pale as she realized this wasn't about chores anymore.